so many times I've gone, so people are like, "How can you help move?" And you go, and it's like
They're not
it's
even
like,
ready to move.
No, it's
I know.
disaster. And
I've been there.
Who does like what?
Not me personally, but I've gone to move someone and they're not ready to move.
what were you thinking was going to happen?
Right.
I mean, like, oh my gosh. So
you think I know where all your stuff needs to be packed up into? I'm not going to do that also. Yeah, I know.
Hey, welcome back to Screen Time. We are a kid cereal company.
Yeah.
I'm Josh, your host, and I have my co-host Jered with me.
You will never swim the English Channel and then drown in champagne.
So today,
do you remember that part?
I don't.
Okay, you will when I'll mention it.
Today we are taking a little detour on our TV pod and just covering like a recent film that is kind of TV related
because it's on streaming. Yeah.
Well, it's Unfrosted.
Yes.
Which is from Jerry Seinfeld, and which Jerry Seinfeld is famously known for his TV series. Not.
I thought you were going to go with, because we bring him up all the time, or Seinfeld. It's just like we have to cover this anyway.
So we're just going to
anything involving him.
As we wait for the big releases in June.
Yeah.
We thought
we'd go through all of comedians in cars getting coffee.
No, that's okay. I mean, those are fun to watch, but
they are fun. Yeah.
I don't really need to talk about
them.
No. But yeah, so we thought we'd cover Unfrosted. But before we do that, what have you been watching?
First of all, I didn't do this beforehand, so sorry for the audio listeners. I got to do a quick crack. There you go.
So you have
then for the video listener, is that what we say? The visual, it's visual listeners. That's what it was.
That's the term I used.
The audio listeners and the video listeners. Yeah, visual, not
visual
video.
Listeners.
There we go.
Visual listeners.
Yeah.
We're drinking the same flavored Ghosts. I just have the non-caffeinated hydration version.
Which we did not plan this at all. No. So it's kind of crazy we had the same flavor.
So, and for the listeners, it is Blue Raspberry Sour Patch.
Yep.
I think I like I guess what is it? Red? What is the red one?
It's the red sour. It's called Red Berry, but it's
Red Berry Sour Patch. I think I like that a little bit better than this one.
Really?
Yeah. For at least in this stuff, like the non-carbonated.
Did you want it?
No, I'm good.
Okay. All right.
Well. Yeah. So what have you been watching?
Yeah, I have two things, and this is funny because I didn't mean for this to work out this way, but I have two movies, and that's it. I don't have any TV.
All right.
But kind of funny because we're talking about a movie anyway. So
yeah. Okay.
So the first one. So these are both are finally. Again, this is like when I'm waiting for like movies to come out, at least on VOD or on streaming, So these are two newer ones that are finally out. So the first one is Love Lies Bleeding. Have you heard of this movie?
Not ringing a bell.
Actually, let me go on IMDb real quick. It's I was getting her name confused. Kristen Stewart?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's her new movie.
Okay.
There it is. So what's cool about this movie is actually I'm not even familiar with the director, but I heard this movie was good, and the time period is late 80s.
Okay.
It has a really cool feel to it. I'm trying to just think about like the tone of this movie. Well, actually, here, let me go. I did write something down for this. But anyway, I was looking to see if anyone else... Oh, Dave Franco is also in this. And, Ed Harris. That's right. I knew there was someone else in it, yeah. So, Rose Glass is the director. Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, no, I'm not familiar with anything else she's done, but but yeah, I like the tone of this movie, and it's definitely shot really well. Like I like the way it kind of it doesn't do like the really like intentionally retro looking, like sometimes they'll do that to
Yeah.
make it look like it was filmed in that time too. They don't really do that, but there is something to it. I don't know, you'd be able to explain it better. Maybe it's a certain color grade.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Could be.
But yeah, it's cool. And the two main act actresses, because the other girl, she was in one of the Star Wars shows. Is the only thing I've seen her in.
Okay.
She's kind of like more like kind of jacked. What show was she in? Was
she in The Mandalorian? Like the
maybe? I'm getting them confused now. Or Obi? No, not Obi-Wan. Wasn't Andor. Maybe it wasn't. I think it was the newest season of Mandalorian.
Okay.
Yeah. That's the only thing I've seen her in. But they're both really great in this movie, and all the actors are actually. And there's like this really good like momentum and build up through the whole movie. And so I was like, man, this movie's pretty good. And then the very end of this movie, we talk about endings of movies a lot lately. And I was just like, I was hoping, because this has been kind of a newer movie thing. I remember a couple of new movies you've watched where you're like, kind of like fell apart at the end.
Yeah.
This one's like to like the 100th degree.
Oh no.
I was so mad because it completely ruins all the momentum and even like the tone and vibe of the whole movie leading up to this. So like you could go up to right before the end and just like stop it. That's what I would suggest, because what they do is so wild and out of pocket for this ending that I'm like, why did you do this? Yeah. But yeah, everything else, I was like, this is a pretty good movie.
Oh. That's
so
wild. It's unfortunate.
I'm not going to say what it is, but maybe I'll tell you afterwards if you're not going to watch the movie, because it is wild, and I just can't believe that was the choice that the director made. But yeah, so anyway, check it out besides that. Just don't watch the ending. And then the other movie is the one I've been waiting a long time to see. I finally saw Godzilla -1.
Oh.
Yes.
Is it as good as it? Did it meet the expectations?
It did, because I was a little skeptical, because everyone's saying like this is like the best Godzilla movie.
Yeah, I've heard that. And
it's definitely one of the best. I would say it's the best. Specifically, I would say it is the best out of all the Godzilla movies in characters and storylines that are around actual Godzilla. Because I feel like a lot of those movies, all this, the characters and plot and stories around that normally are a little weaker.
Okay.
In a lot of those movies. I don't know. How many Godzilla movies have you seen?
Not many.
Okay. I mean, I haven't seen that many either, but I mean, like, kind of more than the ones from the last 20 years, I would say. But no, this is awesome. I wanted to say specifically the design of Godzilla. And I believe, didn't this movie win visual effects?
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
It is, it's great. Again, you have to read subtitles, but we've gotten pretty used to that recently. We've been watching a lot of stuff with that. So actually, it doesn't bother me as much anymore. It's just, I mean, the time period's great too. Right, we're like 40s going into the 50s. And I was trying to think how else to describe it. It's just, it was very interesting the whole way through. That's what I mean. Like, you're not just waiting for all the actual Godzilla sections, which I feel like a lot of the other movies, and even in Monarch,
Well, definitely Monarch.
Yeah.
Monarch was like, yeah,
It's like, all right,
for
when,
cool CG monsters.
yeah, when are we gonna see any of them again? Yeah, and yeah, that's definitely not with this, but they do it so well. Like I said, the specific design of Godzilla 2 in this is just awesome. But yeah, so this is like you will be invested and be like wanting to actually watch all the plot lines and not just seeing the action scenes or Godzilla destroying a city. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
right.
no, it's great. You should definitely, and it's not too long either. I think hour 45 at the most.
Okay.
So I think it's paced really well too, and yeah, even the way it ends, very much like they're not trying to make it like its own franchise.
Right.
But there's a slight little bit at the end, but it done really well that actually makes sense in the movie, not just like, hey, setting this up for another one.
Right,
so
right.
yeah, it's just done really well in all ways, I think. So it does
Nice.
live up to the hype.
Nice.
I was skeptical going in, but it's yeah, you should definitely watch. It is unfortunately though, it'll make you dislike Monarch even more. Because it did make me I was like, man, like this is how
There's
good
so
we
much
could
more
have.
potential. Well, we've been talking about that since we've been watching Shogun, and
Yeah.
you're like the actress, which I'm missing her name right now, but
Yeah, the actual yeah, I know. Yeah.
but that's in both shows, and she's so good. And
It's insane
Shogun,
the difference.
and then like Monarch, it's like so bad, and yeah. So
mm-hmm.
yeah, cool. Well, definitely want to check that out because it was kind of
you wanted to watch it anyway, didn't you?
I was gonna. Well, I almost tried to go see it in the theater.
Yeah, it was in theaters for a long time, wasn't it?
But I just didn't make it happen.
Yeah.
So. But so let's
yeah, that's it. Yeah,
All
just those two movies. Yep.
So got a couple things.
Okay.
First we'll start out with the comedies. Acapulco.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you actually have TV shows?
Season
All
3 of Acapulco is back on Apple TV Plus.
Yeah.
This is and speaking of subtitles, half the show is in Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
So you're still reading subtitles if you don't know Spanish. But this is just a fun, goofy, silly, but fun. And actually speaking of time period, like it being the early 80s and in Acapulco, like it just like the vibe is cool. And it's just a fun, silly show. It's enjoyable, lighthearted. It's good.
Yeah, I need to watch it again or get back into it because I only watched a tiny bit of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Season 3.
Didn't you compare it to Ted Lasso a little bit? Is it like the same kind of silliness or positivity, or what is?
Definitely.
I feel like
it's definitely on the
compared
positivity side.
Okay, that's
in
what it
general, but like, because just the main character, he's just like a bumbling nice guy. Like he's just like a good guy, but he's like more naive than and like Ted. I think Ted Lasso. Like,
he's not quite as naive.
He's not naive. He's naive when it comes to soccer,
right?
But he's not naive as a person, right? This guy is more like he's young and naive and kind of yeah. But
the other one we compared it to was Monkey D. Luffy from One Piece because he's very similar.
That's a much better.
Okay.
The lead is like a lot like him as from like a character standpoint.
Okay.
Yeah, obviously, it's more grounded. There's no
right
special abilities or anything.
Yeah.
And then Hacks.
Yes.
Hacks on.
It is back.
Max.
Hacks on Max.
The one to watch for HBO.
The one to watch. I forgot that was part of their.
That's their slogan. The one to watch for HBO because they know HBO is really the thing that has any clout.
Wait, so that is the full slogan. The one to watch for HBO.
Yeah,
that's even worse.
Yeah, it's like their subline or whatever you call it.
Man. Yeah. How was the new season?
Because so far, great.
Cool.
It's just as good as the previous. And if you're not familiar with Hacks is definitely I think one of the better and smarter comedies I've seen in the last whatever years. I don't know. Like I feel like if you had to rate like comedies that I've watched in like top 10 in the last like 10 years. And, I would list Hacks, to be Ted Lasso, and Shrinking. All those would be up there in the top. Like I like, I'm sure there's some I'm like nothing about right now that would also be up in there, but yeah, it's definitely up there. It's very different. It's not like Ted Lasso and the positivity at all, but like it's just really well done and smart comedy. And
I agree with that. I mean, I'm still in season 1, but I'm still planning on getting through it. I'm almost, actually no, I think I'm almost done season 1.
Nice. Yeah. It's good. It's good.
Is this? I'm wondering, is this a final season or are they keeping it going? Do you know?
I don't think it's necessarily the final season. I don't think there's been an official decision on that.
I was wondering about that. How long they were planning on doing the show?
And also, if for those people that enjoy podcasts, this has an official podcast they put out that's really well done because it's basically the writers hosting it, and then they have the different actors guesting on there. So
nice.
And the writers are also the like executive producers and stuff and showrunner, and so they really talk about like they really talk about the production of the show. And
I love hearing about that.
So it's like it's good. It's kind of what it reminds me of. The other one was the Breaking Bad /
there's
Better podcasts, Better Call Saul.
Those are good. Yeah, they would get
just
really.
Like you had
Vince Gilligan.
I was going to say Vincent LaFerre, but that's not. It's Vince Gilligan.
Yep.
Vince Gilligan would always be on there.
And then what's his name? The other guy.
Yeah, the other guy. And then and then their main editor, she was always the one that was like hosting it. And then they would have some of the guests of like the actors sometimes would be on there.
Mm-hmm.
But like but you get so much insight on like the production and behind the scenes of things because you get the main people that was like.
Yeah, I remember listening to those just for that because they made it so interesting too.
Yeah.
Hearing how they film certain scenes or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, this is like at the kind of that level of like just really they're pretty open about things behind the scenes and talking about it.
Did you ever? I mean, they didn't go into it as much, but they still went into it a little bit. The Foundation podcast was pretty good
the
too.
The official one of that one is like the same line because you have David S. Goyer, like the main showrunner at the time, and I know he's not on it anymore for the next season. But he would talk, and so he would go on.
Yeah, I remember him talking about like all the locations they went to, which was cool.
Yeah,
yeah.
So no, it's a good one. I just enjoy it when they do that because there's some official ones that are kind of aren't as revealing, and they're just kind of and it's but
they don't really. They just literally like go through the scenes and don't talk about. Yeah, anything besides
extra that anybody else could do.
They could be talking about, right?
Like we're like we can just talk to.
We could do that, but
but like and so Hacks season 3 on Max, the one to watch for HBO. Then
we're not sponsored by HBO,
no.
But hey, if you wanna.
So then I also. I don't say binge is maybe not quite the strong enough term or the right term, but watched the first 5 episodes of Sugar.
Nice.
On Apple TV Plus. And I know you talked about this. I don't know if how far you are.
There's only one, the most recent one I haven't seen.
Same.
Think. Okay.
Because until tomorrow there'll be another one.
Yes.
Okay, so. Really, really digging the show. I think it's really cool the way so the premise is you have a private investigator that's based in Hollywood at least for this current time because he's in like Japan or something, the opening scene. Like the opening.
Oh, the black and white.
Yeah, before he goes back to Hollywood and then his next case. But then he's a movie fan and like more classic movie fan. So they recreate almost some scenes from classic noir films and things, and then they intercut like even the clips from them, and it's like almost like he's seeing and feeling like he's part of those movies as he's like going through the things.
Because he's a huge movie buff.
Yeah, and it's cool. And then he makes sure. And then speaking of, I always kind of use this in this case. and then he's, I mean, not at the same level, not the same thing, but it's almost like he's also like the Ted Lasso guy of the detectives, because he's like tries to be super nice to everybody.
That's what I said when I
like
talked about the show. He's like,
he's not. I mean, he's like not this. It's not
it's
the
not
same.
the same. No, I use the word like he's like a man of great integrity, because
Right.
like he's
and morals. Like he's got like
he's very
So like he tries not to fight anybody. Doesn't even want to carry a gun. Like he's just like, no, I don't like violence.
But he's still very
but then he's very skilled and
yes.
talented, and like
very
if he needs to,
calculated
he
too.
can do it. But like, and so he's very confident in a dangerous situation, because he knows he could probably take anybody in the room.
Yeah.
But like then he doesn't. So like,
do
anyway,
you agree with like, because when I was talking about the show, besides obviously like the whole like splicing in like the old movies, do you agree with like the style of it reminds me of like an old school like detective show mixed with like a modern one?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Because it kind of has both.
Yeah, you're 100%.
Yeah.
Well, and it does, like, it definitely does, like, where he's always doing the monologue in his head,
right?
Which is like, definitely old school. No, it's just really well done, and all the character development's really good, and you like, and there's also like some mystery going on that like you don't know. Which, do you know?
No, I don't.
No, I'm saying like, because we don't know yet, really.
Right.
But
I was just trying to, I knew there was some big twist.
Yeah, in episode 6. That's when it happens.
Is that one out? Did I not watch that?
That's at least the one that's out. The most recent one that's out is the one
is that when it
like
was revealed?
Evidently is like huge twist.
Okay, then no, I did not.
And I've
see
been
that
trying to squeeze it in. I really wanted, because I thought maybe you'd be caught up, so I was really trying to see it.
All right, next week we'll.
So maybe we can talk. We'll talk about that next week.
Yeah, I know, because
evidently it's like it's like
I heard it was a big thing, and I was like, that has to do with him specifically.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, well, they kind of teased.
They kind of alluded that. Allude to it that there's But anyway, I'm really digging it. Watch Sugar on Apple TV Plus.
Colin Farrell is just
so good,
so good.
And then last but not least, I saw Fall Guy in the theater.
Oh yeah, man, I do really want to see it.
It's so good.
Is it?
Oh yes.
All right. Sick.
So I don't know if I didn't know this until after watching it, and then I was looking into it. So this is the other guy that helped direct the first John Wick movie.
Yeah, I did hear that.
So it was like the two guys that were both stunt coordinators.
Chad Stahelski is the one directing John Wick.
Yeah, and then he went on to make the other John Wick movies.
Right.
And then this guy went on to make other movies and not John Wick movies after John Wick 1. So, and he just made a few. So in this movie, the stunts are so good. And so like the action stunts are so good.
So is it John Wick level? I mean, I know it's not going to be the same.
But not in like but they broke world records. Guinness Book of World Records for some stunts they did in this movie. Yes.
Huh.
But the movie also like some of the shots, like, and not like not a cinematography as in like just beautiful shots, like, which there are some cool looking shots, but like but like the opening, there's like this long one take of Ryan Gosling kind of giving a monologue about being the fall guy, and like he's like, yeah, I'm just here to make the dude is so good, like, and so like it's got to be, and well, maybe they did face replacement because they even make jokes about that in the movie.
And that's to say, there's no invisible cuts or anything. It's
I mean, not that I could catch on the first viewing, right? And
it's not a 1917 situation.
I don't know, and maybe there is, but just so cool, and he's so good in this movie, and so there's that there's like so that opening thing is just like bam.
I heard him and Emily Blunt are like, their chemistry is great.
They're great. Well, they're just both great.
They are. Yeah.
So like,
obviously they're both great actors,
and you're like, I mean, him coming off of Barbie last year, and he was so good in that too. Like, he's just good at the comedy stuff. Yeah.
Emily Blunt was in Oppenheimer.
Yes.
So they kind of were just.
Yep. So
Probably on the what do you call it, the junkets together
yeah,
during both of those movies, and now they're.
now they're
Although
on
I don't know
Junkets.
when this was filmed though.
It's probably filmed after. I mean, they.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know.
true. Yeah, probably still after.
Um, but they were probably filmed before they were doing the junkets for Oppenheimer.
Yes.
And then but anyway,
You never know anymore though, because I know some they like,
some they turn around crazy fast, and then other ones
or other ones they sit on for years.
Yep.
And they're just
or
done, and
it's
they
in
just
post
don't.
and forever. And,
Yeah, or it's done, and they just, for whatever reason, wasn't Dune 2 was that way.
Mm.
I remember Denis Villeneuve saying like he wasn't.
Well, he
wasn't even like messing with it anymore, like in post, and he was
because it was
like,
supposed to originally come out like in November of last year.
Yeah, but it was like way before that. Like he was done way. I remember him like talking about it. So like that was just sitting there for over a year then at that point.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, this film, it's so. Well, it's also so cool to see because it's you get the movie. They're making a movie inside of a movie, and so there's like all the like behind the scenes and the terminology and like all that stuff. That's like so great to see, and just but there's just so many crazy choreographed shots of things happening that you're just like, and there's like where they, and again, it's so self-referential, like, and industry stuff that like. For me, it even was even like made it even better.
Mm-hmm.
But like, just as an example, in a scene where she's like trying to struggle how to end the movie as Emily Blunt's character, because she's the director.
Oh, okay.
And he is the stunt guy. Like, and they kind of have their thing. But like, anyway, so she calls him, and she's like trying to figure out. She's like, I think I might have an idea for the ending. She's like, what? How do you feel about split screens? And then it goes into a split screen while she's talking about it. And they have all these perfectly timed shots of them split screens where they're in two different spots and like the tone is completely different, but yet they're almost framed and shot like to mirror each other so well. And she's like talking through this whole thing. And of course it's like, there's like double meaning in what they're even talking about because he's like, is this about a relationship? And she's really just talking about the movie, like all this stuff. Like it's just like so good.
Right. Didn't they isn't the premise like they had a previous relationship or something?
So yeah, in the opening, she's a cinematographer.
Okay.
She's a cinematographer.
This is her first.
And then when she finally gets her first break, but they had a falling out like at the beginning. And it's all right here in the first couple minutes. And then and then they hadn't seen each other in like 2 years or something. And then like by basically someone kind of tricking him, he shows up as like to be a stunt guy on the movie, and she
this is her first
and his
director,
first director. But they may even make a reference to the movie she's making as the director. Like they're like, yeah, it's got to be big because it's the first trailer is going to play in Hall H, and like that's all they say. Like and so like. If you're a nerd,
not everyone knows what that is.
But not everyone knows what Hall H is. But so there's like so many things like that. It's just so.
I'm sure there's a ton of movie references too.
Yes. Oh yeah. They're quoting like him and his other best bud stunt coordinator guy. Like they're quoting movies all the time, and then like what it's from, and then and they're like they definitely do some homage, like kind of choreographed fight scenes that like mimic things from other movies.
Oh, fight scenes from other movies?
Yes.
Nice.
And like, so anyway, it's just so good and so funny and so just.
I don't know about the rest of the cast, but I know the one girl from Ted Lasso's in it.
Yes.
Is anyone else in it?
I mean, you have, what's his name? Aaron Taylor-Joy? No.
That's Anya Taylor-Joy. I know.
No,
I know the other one.
There's
I know.
Something like that. Like.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about because they have very similar names.
Yes, and I was like, I know I was going to say it wrong.
Yeah, he's the one that apparently is the new James Bond, which sucks. Did you hear that?
No.
Yeah, I think he is going to be the new Bond.
No. No way.
Really? You didn't hear that? I think he might be.
Aaron Taylor Johnson.
There it is. I think he might be.
Hannah Waddington Ham, which is
there you go. Yeah.
the Lasso lady. Yeah, this guy.
Yeah. Man, I can't believe he's going to be.
I've not heard that, which means it's not
okay.
big news.
No, well, I was going to say I can't believe his next movie is Craven the Hunter, because that movie looks horrible.
So there's some spoiler cameos.
Okay, well then don't tell. Yeah, that's cool. I was hoping there'd be some cameos.
But
Cool.
there's like they're like the main people that like Yeah, what was it? There was something else I was gonna say about it, but it's a good, like, all around, just so good.
So fun the whole way through.
100%.
How long is it?
It's probably, I don't actually. I mean, I just had it up on here. Let me look, because I don't know. I think it's like 2 hours.
But see, that's good. Like,
2 hours and 6 minutes. But,
yeah, and you don't feel
honestly,
like it, right?
I would have watched another 10, 15. Like it didn't feel like it at all. It moved. It was never felt slow.
Good.
The script is tight. Like like nothing felt like stupid and cheesy, unless it was supposed to be stupid and cheesy. Like there are stuff that they're just making fun of. Like the main guys, the main actor that's played by Aaron Taylor Johnson is like, the douchey like front man that like he's like, yeah, I do all my own stunts, and like, but then of course he doesn't.
Oh, so he's basically Tom Cruise.
Well, his name is Tom in the.
Oh, okay. So that's what they're okay.
Yes,
that's great.
And then they even make a comment about Tom Cruise, but not referencing that guy. But they're just like, someone's like, well, maybe we should get Tom Cruise, and like you're just like, yeah. So
that's great.
Yeah, there's so much. Like I said, the script, like, which just basically all that stuff comes down to like the script. It's just really well written, tight script.
One thing I didn't know about this movie is, like, it was based on an old TV show,
right?
Which I want to check out because I had no idea about it.
Yeah, and it's that's, they have at the very end, they have the guy and the gal or the main from the TV show are in it.
Oh, they're in it?
It's like a cameo, like,
that's cool.
As like these police officers show up at the end.
I wanted to see, is it actually just called the same thing?
I think so. But yeah,
1981.
Yeah. But yeah, definitely go see this. If The Fall Guy. It's
yeah, definitely
the best movie in theaters you haven't seen.
Well, is there really anything else that's probably good in theaters
I don't know.
There doesn't really seem.
I don't know. Challengers is.
Oh, you're right.
That's supposed to be really good too. I haven't seen it, but that's supposed to be really good.
I definitely want to see Challengers. That does look really good. Yeah. So that's 2 movies at least. Yeah.
It's got to support the cinemas.
Yeah, until we get to Deadpool 3, and that's like the only Marvel theme we're getting. I feel like there's not much movie-wise. I mean, we talked about it, I think, last week. Furiosa and like, some of the trailers you were talking about.
Twisters.
Yeah, Twisters.
Yeah, there's a few things.
It seems like, though, a little less than previous years.
I agree.
Just overall.
I mean, we're probably feeling from the writer's strike.
Yes, that's true.
And it was a writer's strike, and there was 2 strikes that happened at the same time.
Oh, you're right.
What was the other one? Actors? It was actors.
Was it actors?
Yeah,
strike?
it was the SAG
yes.
actor strike. Yeah. So there was like a lull of like 6 months.
Yeah.
Nothing kind of done.
That's right.
So, and yeah, that was last year. So yeah, that's probably why it, like, either from that or just, things not getting moving forward, and yeah.
So
yeah.
Before we get into the movie we're talking about, I literally saw just today that you were right, because they dated it, The Bear, like it's like June 20 something.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't see the date yet, so I didn't see that bit.
They just did it today because I saw on YouTube, and it said again all episodes. I'm like, wow, why do they do that? I mean, for that show, I understand. It's just
yeah.
It's interesting because that show's so huge now. You think they would want to?
You'd think.
I don't know. It is wild how quickly they shoot that show, though.
Yeah. Well, it's the production wise is not that complex.
Right. And I remember, was it you were telling me, or maybe I was listening to an interview with no, maybe I definitely listened to something like the creator saying like they do maybe 2 takes.
Yeah.
Or 2 or 3 takes, like every scene. Like that's it. Now the one shot episode, I don't know how many times they did that. Probably a lot.
Actually, because I remember looking into that one a bunch, and
they didn't do that many times.
They didn't do that many of them.
Okay,
but yeah, and then you never get any perfect. Well, I mean that's part of it, because there is like a shot that's like out of focus briefly in that.
Oh, okay.
And you're like, okay, But I mean, that's like one of those things you just go with it because.
So the technology's still not there to change that in post for something that's out of focus.
Not a real camera like
no,
that.
I
Like,
know, yeah.
you can make something look out of focus. It's in
Right.
focus,
But not the opposite.
the other
Not
way
even
around.
with AI.
I mean,
They can't.
I'm sure there's probably some stuff that could do an okay job at it. I mean,
Yeah.
at this point, but
It would probably look a little weird though, like when
I'm
AI
sure
does
it'll get
that
there
stuff.
at one
Yeah,
point.
yeah.
Where you'll be like, hey, can you just make this look like it's in focus?
That would be crazy.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah,
But yeah, that's just another thing like we were talking about in June.
June, man,
Lots of
June's gonna be
June stuff.
insane.
Yep.
June's gonna be insane.
We still don't know what we're gonna cover first, I guess. Is
Yeah, what do we cover next week? Do we decide?
ooh,
3-body problem, and then we gonna finish that.
either 3-body problem or dark matter.
Oh, that's right. Dark Matter starts this.
That's out.
Yeah, I know. It started yesterday or
Yeah, it was the.
Wednesday.
I know I get mixed up. It's always like the Wednesdays and the Friday shows. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll be
Doing
it'll
one
be
of
a
those
surprise.
things.
Yeah, you'll find out. So, but let's get into
Yeah.
Unfrosted. So, here a little synopsis. In 1963, Michigan, business rivals Kellogg's and Post compete to create a cake that could change breakfast forever. So I thought I didn't throw everything in here. Just this is PG-13, hour and 33 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
directed by Jerry Seinfeld.
Yeah. So you can't really go through the whole cast.
I'm not going to go
There's-
through. No,
there's a lot.
and because this is not the movie review podcast that
Right.
we do. This is
There
just
is a lot of people in
This is
this.
just a discussion podcast that
Yeah.
we do about TV and things. So, what'd you think of this movie?
You want me to go first?
Yeah.
Okay. It was all right. It was
Okay.
all right.
Okay.
I do like the feel of it because it definitely felt like maybe even of the time, like from the 60s, type of like fun, old school, silly type of comedy movie. That's what it felt like. Definitely had that vibe.
Okay.
Of something older like that. So I like that, and I mean, I was gonna watch it anyway. Like anything that
Yeah.
he hasn't really done anything in a while,
Yeah.
so it was cool just that he's doing something. So and I mean, I like him in this. I mean, he's just being Jerry Seinfeld pretty much, but that's what he always is. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, it was yeah, it was all right.
Yeah.
How do you feel about this movie?
The same. It was all right.
Yeah,
But it had some really funny moments.
it did. Yeah.
But then it was also really dumb.
Mm-hmm.
And like dumb as in like boring dumb.
Yeah.
Like, and I get what you're saying about that, but like there's part of me that there's something about it was like reminding me of kind of the problems I have with Curb Your Enthusiasm, other than the production wasn't bad on this, but
Right.
where it's just like you're like, yeah, okay, but there's funny moments, but then there's also just the moments in between the acting so bad that it's like hard to watch, and then the funny moments, then you're like, oh, okay, that's just funny, and then you're like, and now we're back to awkward bad moments.
Yeah.
What I think sums this up, like the whole film, and it's funny because we've mentioned Ted Lasso I think twice, but the whole film feels like it's like a Super Bowl ad.
Yes, it does.
Where like, yes, in a minute or minute and a half as a Super Bowl ad, it'd probably be a funny premise, and it'd probably be work.
Yeah.
And then which is, for those you don't know, Ted Lasso started there. That's where it was originally.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
It's but anyway, so that's what it feels like, and then like stretched out into an hour and a half. Just
Yeah.
Anyway,
I think it's also just like Jerry Seinfeld has talked about Pop-Tarts so much. Like I feel like he just wanted to do this,
yeah,
and kind of relive his own childhood, like seeing these sets and everything. And
probably that's probably part of it.
because I'm trying to remember, he's definitely in stand-up, he talks about Pop-Tarts.
Yes,
But I think in specific, like at least one specific Seinfeld episode too,
Does he? I don't
I
remember.
think so. Like not part of the stand up, like actually in the episode. So it's definitely a, yeah, I think it's just he wanted to do it. And then the reason why you get so many people in this, because like I was mentioning before, it's like, who's going to turn down if Jerry Seinfeld's like, hey, you want to be in this?
Dude, there's so many people.
I know, that's what I mean. They're all like, yeah, of course. No one's going to say no to him. But yeah, I mean,
So we'll get into spoilers if you can call it that, because I mean, the
yeah,
plot's so ridiculous that
yeah, I do really like seeing these brands and like, you know, just the obviously the setting and like how they look, like their buildings in that time period, and like
yeah,
all that was cool. But yeah,
cool.
Yeah, we get. I mean,
yeah, just
yeah,
like
I only have
just,
like a couple notes.
Yeah, I have a couple notes of things I liked and
Mhm.
really stood out. A couple things I really didn't like.
Yeah.
Well, I'll start with what my quote came from.
Oh right.
I loved the Mad Men scene.
Yeah, that was
the like
best scene.
genius.
And what's funny is when I saw it, I remember, I don't know if it's like an interview or something. I remember Jerry Seinfeld talking about Mad Men and how much he loved that show. And now I'm like, and you're in the 60s in this, so I'm sure he just really wanted to get them to do it.
I was listening to an interview with the other like producer writer that worked on this with him. I forget the guy's name. And he said, yeah, they were like Jerry had finished rewatching this because he does love Mad Men so much, and then like they were watching him together and just laughing, and he's like, these guys are so serious about their and then they were just like laughing, and he's like, and then they're like, wait, this is the same time period. Like,
yeah,
he's like, it wouldn't be far-fetched for the Kellogg's to reach out to Mad Men or like someone on Madison Avenue to like help them with the pitch. So then that's when they came up with the idea of including a whole scene with them. And of course they just had to then reach out to John Hamm and
it's I had it written down.
What's the other guy's name? Slattery or something?
Yes. Shoot. John. Yeah, John Slattery.
John. So
yeah, they're both Johns.
John Slattery.
Slattery and Ham.
Yep.
Yeah.
Slatter the ham.
Slatter. Yeah. Yeah. No, that was the best.
It was.
So wait, your quotes from that scene too? Because that's what my quote's from.
Yeah. Yeah, because he gives it the punchline. He reveals the thing, and then Jim Gaffigan says the line. He says, "You know, we're a kids cereal company, right?"
Oh yeah, because he keeps progressively showing more.
Well, everything about it is like sex selling the Pop-Tarts.
Yeah,
I mean the whole pitch. He's like, and then the toaster's ready for the warm.
Yeah, yeah, that was
like,
good.
You're just like, what? It was so over the top, but so like on point at the same time. Is why it was good. It was a good scene.
It was. Yeah, my quote is from when John Hamm like gets real close in Jerry Seinfeld's face, and that's what he says. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I love that. I laughed really hard at the funeral scene where they filled up the milk and cereal.
Oh,
in the guy's coffin.
Yeah, and he had like different. What did he said something about like it being like different clearance levels of like the type of burial. I remember him saying something like that specifically, and I thought that was great. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I mean, if you have something, you can jump in. But and then I love the two kids and the kids that were in the dumpster and everything. Like those kids were like so good.
Yeah, they were good.
They actually like feel like some of the best acting on the whole show or the whole movie.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, some of the.
I don't know. There was some guy. I mean, like, what's his name doing JFK? Like
That was one of my
so
notes.
good.
Bill Burr, yeah.
Yeah, so good. And the Doublemint twins.
Yeah, Doublemint twins. Yep. My note about.
I feel like again, I know this is, but like making a joke about Marilyn Monroe, like is kind of like, I was like, that's like too easy. Like like I was like, that was bad. But then like the Doublemint twins thing was great.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, that was I really liked Bill Burr playing JFK. Also, as soon as I saw him, I was like, man, this is great because if you've ever listened to Bill Burr's podcast or even some of his stand up, he does the JFK voice all the time. Like even when he does it sometimes, even when he's like reading an ad for like on his podcast. And so when I saw him, I was like, man, that's perfect because he was used to it already. It's just funny seeing him with that hair, but
Yes. Yeah.
but yeah, that was good. And I didn't even think about it because I'm like, yeah, 1963, and then I'm like, when they went to the president, I don't know why I didn't even think who it would be.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah.
The same interview with the co-writer guy. He mentioned that for at one point they thought like of having the assassination have like somehow involved the Pop-Tarts.
Well, they do a reference to they mentioned something about a grassy knoll though, at least in the movie. I don't remember what it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, yeah, they didn't really get into the whole.
The other, I didn't write this down. But the other thing that's funny is when he goes and gets Melissa McCarthy's character, and he's like, you didn't actually think we were going to go to the moon, did you? And then he's like, huh. They both like laugh like and
Yep.
they leave. You're just like, that was kind of funny too.
Yeah. It's the one milkman, Christian Slater.
Yes, Christian Slater's
So when he
he's got
Jerry
some good,
Seinfeld's character's name.
in that.
Oh no, he does. What is his character's name? Jerry
I don't
Seinfeld.
remember.
Okay, well I'll just say Jerry Seinfeld then. When the milkman I think it's when Jerry's coming out of his house,
Mm-hmm.
and the milkman's waiting out there, and he goes up and asks like, "Hey, is this milk expired?" You know, and then he
July 3rd. I know.
I was gonna see if you remember, if you caught that reference.
Caught it right away. Yep. July 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
If those of you who don't know, that's straight out of Seinfeld's original stand-up,
Yeah.
where he's like, makes a joke about how do they know what date to put on when it expires? Do the cows tip them off? And then he pretends that the cow says July 3rd.
That's still his. Oh no, never mind. He has done some new specials. I was gonna say that was like going to be his last special.
Well, I don't know if he's done any actual full-long specials.
I thought he did for Netflix.
I don't think there's maybe there is. Did we watch it?
I don't know.
If there is, I watched it, but like,
yeah.
Maybe.
The problem is if he did, it wasn't that great because I don't really. Yeah.
I know he's done some short bits like on some of the late nights.
He
and stuff
has,
like that.
and I mean, he actually
And that's
does.
where the Pop-Tart thing comes from. Like that wasn't in his original.
Well, and then he still tours a lot. Like, so you can go see him.
No, he was touring with Jim Gaffigan. I was like,
oh, really?
I would have yeah, they were.
That would have been good.
Yeah, I think they're up in Hershey. They were
Nice.
and I was like, oh, that would have been.
I can't even imagine the ticket price for that though.
I don't know. Take my money, I'd go.
Yeah.
If I would have known in enough time to plan, but yeah. So the parts I didn't like.
Oh, I only have one more, and then you can get into that because I didn't write anything like specifically I didn't like, but the only thing that I thought was great was at the pretty close to the beginning when they are going through all like the cereals that didn't make it from that year, and the one it was like Cheerios, and it was called Grandma's Holes.
Well, how about all the Russian versions of the cereals? Those were funny too.
That was good. Yeah, that was yeah, what's his name from Breaking Bad too? Was was him? That was man. Yeah, there's so many people.
Many people in this movie.
Yeah,
so many cameos.
Mm-hmm.
So the and this is me like, because obviously, like I said, overall, like the overall plot or the overall story is kind of so cheesy and dumb. Like it doesn't really, like that's the part that doesn't work. There's like it's just like a bunch of skits.
Yeah,
and like some of them work better than others. But you don't. There's no buy into the story, so like there's no characters that you care about, so like it doesn't really matter. But
true.
So the thing I like the whole thing with like the ravioli that came to life or whatever.
Oh yeah, that was
so dumb. Like that was so dumb. Like it's like pointless.
And like, did they do it just so they could have the bit at the end that's like it's in his pocket when he's telling the kid?
I don't know.
I was like,
it just there was no payoff. There was nothing worth. And the other thing, like trying to make fun of the January 6th thing with all the mascots.
Oh, is that what they were?
Yeah, because he's got like because then what's his name? The Tony the Tiger mascot like comes, and he's got the headdress and like scaling the building and all and like
okay.
It was totally what they were
yeah,
like
you're right. You're right.
off of.
Yeah.
I'm like I mean, I'm not one of those people who like say like it's off limits, like but it's just it was dumb. It wasn't funny.
Yeah.
And it's like it's been long enough that who cares?
I know. Well, like it was very relevant, I guess. Maybe when they were writing it. Yeah.
But like, then it's just not funny.
No, I some of my favorite stuff is like
the mascot stuff. Some of that stuff was funny. Like the Snap Crackle Pop guys. Like that was funny.
Yeah. Speaking of that, because the one guy's from the other two.
Yes. He's the last one, Pop.
Yes.
Snap Crackle Pop.
I was going to mention specifically, that's what I love about the other two is that they make fun of basically everything. Like even political stuff, they just make fun of everything. Yep. And it's like, if you're going to do it, just and actually make it funny too.
Yeah. Like I'm not saying if you want to do it, do it. But like it just wasn't funny.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's kind of that's kind of thing. I mean, you know, I would say like. I mean, I'm not saying don't watch it, but like, it's kind of meh. Yeah, overall.
It is. Yeah.
So,
I mean, and I would
probably catch all the best bits on like TikTok or something.
Probably, and I wouldn't. I mean, like we said, we were both gonna watch anyway, because it's
definitely because of being fans of Jerry Seinfeld.
Yeah, but I wasn't like going in this movie thinking this is going to be amazing anyway. Right. But
I'm with you.
But I didn't think it would be this kind of just
I guess I expected to be a little smarter.
Yes,
in the comedy,
especially
and
for him.
There was moments.
There was,
but like then there was a lot of just like stupid done. Like well, and here's a perfect example of like the whole thing where they were like when the milkman took them. And then, of course, they're like
Peter Dinklage
is there interrogating or whatever, and then they're like, whatever they call it, run him down the row or whatever, and you're like, no, he's a Family Guy, and then you're like,
the cow thing,
and you're like,
that was stupid,
so stupid, like, and I'm like, what? This is now a toilet humor, like, what is it? You know, like what? So I feel like actually, I had this thought and then I read. I feel like it didn't know what kind of comedy it wanted to be. It was mixing styles.
Yeah.
And it's like, so like you had that stuff and then you had other like, so like slapstick kind of stuff. And then like, so it was like all over the place.
Well, do you think you said there was another writer?
Yeah. To help them write a bit.
So it's like, cause there was definitely times the funny stuff where you could tell like, oh, that was definitely a Seinfeld joke, you know, something that he came up with. And then some of the other stuff maybe
that's what it is. I don't know.
The other writer.
But I feel like it felt to me like more like it had 3 or 4 writers, not just 2, you know.
Could have, yeah.
But I think it was just the 2 of them, but I don't know.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. Yeah.
Well, if you watched it, let us know what you thought. Or if you saw any other stuff, you know, let us know. I'd love to hear about if you watch Sugar or Hacks or Fall Guy. Go see Fall Guy. It's great.
Go watch Godzilla -1.
Godzilla -1's on VOD. Just let us know your thoughts or feelings about things.
Thoughts and feelings.
You can email us at feedback@screentimepod.com or leave us a comment on YouTube or DM on Instagram. If you'd like to follow me on Instagram, I'm at JYoungbar.
I'm at Jered Youngbar.
All right, and we'll talk to you guys next week.